So I've been on a walk. You could say I'm currently on a walk, but I sat down to record this, and the amount of negativity that I felt the amount of negativity that this body felt during the walk and a little bit before it as well is no short of fucking astonishing. It's pure negativity. Pure negativity, just pure bad, you know? And I feel like the most honest thing I could do is be with it. Nothing new. Nothing new here. So let's be with it. I do not want to be recording the entire video whilst I'm sitting down, so I'm picking my ass up. Let's keep it moving. So I felt a lot of negativity while I was on the walk. It was just incredible. As I'm recording this video right now, I feel, let me see how much I feel. Somewhat less is the honest response. I feel somewhat less. But there is still residue, and I want to address that. I want to stay present with that. And that was not a sneeze, by the way. It didn't look or sound like one. Maybe it sounded like one, but it was not a sneeze. So the blockage I used to feel at the right side of the base of my spine has somewhat dissolved. So I'd say it's more loose right now. But it is still present to some degree. And I keep on dissolving it. right in this moment. The anxiety I felt in my chest when I applied to the previous one and started doing my Duolingo. If the anxiety just broke through the fucking roof, I would say. And again, how I would describe that anxiety is a sensation of severed connection. It is a very physical, very visceral sensation. It feels like anxiety, it feels like cortisol, it feels like stress. And there is a huge emotional component to it. There's a huge emotional component to it. So it's a physical sensation of anxiety in the chest, but there is a huge emotional component to it, and you could say mental component as well, and that is the component of it literally feels like the alarm of vital connections being severed. And if we make this more concrete, if I'm being more direct, it feels like severing of relationships. It feels like all the relationships I've had throughout time that were unsuccessful or that ended with heartbreak to different degrees, those are all emerging within my body and asking to be seen is what it feels like. And it is again the weight of many relationships of different kinds, could be friendships, could be romantic, could be someone else, I don't know, but failed relationships, you could say. That's what it feels like. And of course, since it is asking for attention, I'm giving it attention. For fuck's sake. The anxiety. In general, there is also a lot of anxiety tied around rejection, so the anticipatory fear of rejection, and also anxiety tied around just not being accepted, which I guess is a different way to express the same thing. And I let that be. And what I could do is I could give that feeling the power to dictate my actions. I could give that fear of rejection the power to dictate my actions, either jump into codependency or employ avoidant behaviors to preserve the ego. I could do either of those, or I could do both and be swinging like a pendulum in these coping mechanisms and maladaptive relationship dynamics. I could be doing that, but I choose not to do that. What I choose is I choose to shed light on the feeling as it is asking me to do so. So there is huge anxiety, there is a lot of heartbreak, there is a lot of internal panic around relationships being severed, etc. And what I choose to do with that feeling is I choose to give it radical attention. I choose to imbue it with radical presence. Hopefully this video is of use to you, whoever you are watching this. But if not, that's okay too. We're thriving here anyways. Anyway, that is the thing about trauma, is a lot of those patterns, or most of them, or even all of them, are imprinted in the body as a bundle of sensations that we do our best to avoid feeling, you know. And counterintuitively, the freedom from those patterns actually lies in feeling the feelings you don't want to feel. So if you're afraid of rejection and you don't want to feel pathetic, like in this case with me, what you do if you want freedom is you feel the feeling. you let it be, you give it your full attention, and you radically feel it without much interpretation or thought involved. I'm glad I took the umbrella, because I see that most people haven't done that. Otherwise I'd be wet, and it's not something I want right now. I feel like a huge pivotal component of freedom when inhabiting a human body is allowing oneself to feel any feelings that may arise without necessarily letting that impact your actions, or without necessarily immediately doing something as the result of feeling those feelings. I mean, you can, but you don't have to. The reason my voice sounds so deep is not because I'm trying, but because there is a relaxation in my belly. So you could say I'm speaking from the diaphragm, or the diaphragm, I don't know. I don't know the correct term in English, but I think it's diaphragm. Another thing I've noticed about myself, about my psyche, is that I quite often tend to have a painful reaction. I tend to quite often feel a painful reaction towards strangers laughing. And I immediately understand that that is because my mind is interpreting that as me being ridiculed. And of course that has ancient roots. You know, that it can be traced back to my childhood, but it's very real. The reason I brought it up right now, Polnadora didn't even look at me. The kid just asked for money. Now, the reason I brought it out right now is because I was about to cross the road and there were a group of guys, and one of them was repeatedly laughing with a mad witch-like, banshee-like laugh. Like that, but much louder and more intense. And of course, my inner child, or however you want to label that, immediately felt like he's being ridiculed. So there was a feeling, a perception of being ridiculed that was triggered immediately. And the thing about this is I could actually be ridiculed. Like, they could literally actually be laughing at me. You know, that could just be the truth. Because they saw that I was recording myself, or they saw that I was recording something, and they're not quite used to it. I don't think it's super common here, and they found it funny. Just wanted to laugh about it, or they were laughing about something completely unrelated. You know, either could be true. But see, either way, or what is also true is, no matter what, I felt triggered. And on a nervous system level, on the somatic level, on the level of my body, I felt that I was being laughed at, I was being ridiculed. And if I desire emotional freedom, that is something to be addressed, and that is something to I'll be honest about with myself, and that is something to be, felt, experienced, given attention to be present with. There is still a part of me that feels rejected and ridiculed most of the time, or all the time. That part is present, and I want to imbue that part with unconditional love. No matter how delusional or accurate it is.